Hello, welcome to Live Your Own Way with me, Lucy Gleeson Interiors, chatting homes, life and inspiration with my very special guests. Hi there, hope all is well with you. Today I'm having a good old chat with director and co-founder of Interiors Emporium, Rockett St George, who with fellow founder Lucy St George started their interiors brand 17 years ago. I am a big fan, as are many, of their amazing homeware. It's so unique and fun and beautiful. I'm really looking forward to discovering more about Jane, what inspires her, and most definitely we'll be talking about the brand, their new stores, colour psychology in our homes, and her own stunning home dating back to the 1500s. Hello, Jane. How are you? Thanks for coming on the podcast. How's it going today? Are you at home?
No, I'm in the office. We've just launched Christmas, so it's feeling very festive today here, even though it's only October. It's we do Christmas what seems like most months of the year.
Your Instagram has been very lively with some exciting news, which we're going to talk about soon. But I'm intrigued, first of all, to know how you and Lucy got started with Rockett St George, because your background was photography and marketing, and Lucy was retail. So how did you meet and then form the company?
We met at a fancy dress party. Lucy was dressed as a fairy, and I was dressed as I was called misleading. I was like a model. I had a floor sequined red dress on and a big sash saying misleading and a blonde wig. And Lucy and I met and got on really, really well. And then we bumped into each other again at another party. And I went bounding up to go, "Hi, how are you?" And she went, "I've no idea who you are." And of course, I thought, "Oh, she's a bit rude." And then I realised, of course, I had a blonde wig on. She hadn't got a clue who I was. She obviously thought I was blonde. But we then met again and became friends. And we actually had babies at the same time. So we bonded over being mums, really. We bonded over Dairy Dippers. We we weren't the kind of mums who were at home liquidising veg. And we were enjoying our children, but making our lives as easy as possible.
That sounds like a good plan. So, did you always have a passion for cool and unique things for your home?
Always. I mean, when did we start? 2007. Both Lucy and our friendship really bonded over car booting. We used to get up really early every Sunday morning and go car booting because neither of us had a huge amount of money. We both loved beautiful things. And back then, it's harder now, I have to admit, with eBay. This is pre-eBay. You could find really amazing things at car boots. So we would go every Sunday morning and come back with beautiful things for our homes. Because back then there was Habitat and there was IKEA, but there wasn't really a lot else. So it was harder to find, unless you had a lot of money, really unique things for the home. So you either had to make them or they'd be vintage. So we would do that. And then our friends started saying to us, "Oh, where did you get that? Where did you, they come for dinner or around for coffee." And they said, "Will you find me some lovely things?" And we thought, "Oh, hold on a second. Perhaps we're good at this." I have to say, when you're buying at a trade show, it's very similar because you're walking around and seeing a huge amount of things and you have to pick out the really magical pieces and that's a good training ground if you're going to be a buyer to go to a car boot sale.
And then obviously you started Rockett St George. So did you have a clear audience and vision in your mind or a long-term plan of how it should go?
I wish I could say yes to this question. No, not at all. We didn't have a business plan. We weren't really in the mind that what has happened would happen. We literally wanted to make some extra money, and we had very little. We set up the whole business for £4,000, including buying the stock. We spoke to a lot of people. We bought websites for dummies. We went to a lot of markets and found some designer makers because we didn't need the amount of stock quantities we need now. And we bought a website shell, which was 25 quid a month. And we set it up, sent out a press release, I did the photographs and the press release, and we just went live. And back then, it's pre-smartphone as well. So my experience in marketing and PR was very much to do with magazines. And so we sent a really good press release out to the magazines. And I think the first call we got was from Vogue, who wanted to feature, do you remember wall stickers?
Yes.
Yeah, they were huge. And I think we were one of the first to do it. And they featured our wall stickers in Vogue. And then Living, etc., started working with us. And back, if you got something in a magazine, then you'd sell a lot because that's where everybody got their inspiration for homeware.
That must have been an amazing boost to have Vogue being the first to feature you.
Yes, it was really shocking. I can remember the adrenaline rush.
So what were the first items that you found and sold as well as stickers then? What else were you putting out there?
We put out wall stickers. We worked with an amazing designer called Susan Bradley who did this outside metal wallpaper. I'm trying to remember. We did lots of little bits for the home, a few bits of artwork. We did jewellery back then, and we sort of have developed into homeware. We were more lifestyle back then. Saying that, we are thinking of doing jewellery again because our customers like what we do. We think we can do Rockett St George jewellery quite well. But it was an eclectic mix. I think we stood out from the crowd. I remember when we launched our website, a lot of our friends said to us, "I don't get it," which is really not very nice, really. But it's because we weren't like anybody else. They couldn't pigeonhole us to be like Cox and Cox or Graham and Green. We kind of were different to everybody, so it worked for us because we stood out from the crowd, I think.
And you're so established now with such a strong identity. You make it look really easy, but I'm sure that it probably hasn't been all along the way. So did everything kind of fall into place, or did you just take time to become on brand?
No, the brand building was the easiest thing I think we did because we didn't have a lot of money for marketing. So we didn't do what a lot of companies do, which throw marketing into Google Shopping and advertising and buying traffic. We had to work for our traffic to the website. We had to create events and meet our customers and create a brand identity so people became loyal to us. Which I think actually now, if you start a new company, that's the hardest thing to do, is to create that brand identity and to get your customers to identify with you. But it took us longer because to grow as a result of that, I think.
And when you're choosing pieces now for Rockett St George, do you both agree? Do you both have to agree on something before you say yes? Okay, we're going to.
Yes, but we don't. It's not hard. We do it. It's a natural thing. Even though our personal tastes are really different, when we buy, Lucy could walk around a trade show stand or look through a catalogue, and I could do it separately, and we choose exactly the same thing. So it's just a natural thing that we do.
And do you put much emphasis on studying trends at all?
Trends is a funny one. Lucy isn't affected by trends at all. I am, even though I don't want to admit it. Lucy is the pure Rockett St George. She's the one who loves the black and gold, the stars, the rock and roll, the naughtiness. So she never ever changes her mind on what she loves. I'm totally fickle. I love one thing one minute and then I'm on to the next. And I think the combination of that means that I'm a little bit trend, but she sort of hones it into the Rockett St George look.
It's just a really good combination, isn't it? Sometimes combinations just work and that's that. So, and do you do a lot of travelling to keep inspired and sort of meet people to work with for Rockett St George?
Well, we did prior to lockdown, and we are beginning to again now. I have to say that that period of time, even though we were one of the lucky ones being online, the inspiration, it was dry. It was a dry time. It was hard to because you couldn't go out anywhere. You couldn't go to fabulous places. You couldn't travel. So you only had the internet for inspiration, and which is a wonderful, wonderful thing. But I think to be original, you really do need to get out there in the world.
What are your favourite places to go to where you'll find like amazing palettes or great people to collaborate with?
Well, well, it's me, so it changes all the time. We spent a lot of time in Marrakesh and meeting designer makers there. Now, I've been to Sicily this year, and I found that really, really inspiring. Even just the energy of Paloma was just incredible. Um, and also just been to New York, and I was in Brooklyn and Williamsburg, and that's always amazing because it's just I'm a bit old to be in Williamsburg now. I've noticed the demographic is so young, but it's still the vibe is so creative, and you always see really exciting things there. So
Yeah. Do you ever see any of these places like a second home that you've been there a lot and to find things?
maybe Marrakesh. I got married in the Atlas Mountains 4 years ago.
Oh wow.
I know. Well, it's the second one. I went all out. And that was really, really incredible. So Marrakesh, I know really, really well. Um, but you've got to switch it up. You've got to keep moving forward. You can't. I like to go somewhere I haven't been before.
So let's talk about your it's just really exciting news that you have two walk-in stores, one in Neal Street, your flagship store in Covent Garden, and then Red Brick near Leeds. So what made you decide that you wanted to be online and available as, somewhere that people can physically go?
Our customers, we're listening to our customers really. They want to come and see and touch and feel our products, and I don't blame them. Also, we're an online store, and it's very easy to become faceless being online. We wanted stores so our customers have the ability to come and see the product, but we also want stores, our own spaces, so that we can hold events and meet our customers and give something back to our customers. Because we have done events in the past in like hotels and who have rooms for these things, but we thought let's just have our own stores, and then we can cost effectively create special occasions for our customers. So add value to the product and the brand. And we've got some really loyal customers who really engage with what we do, and we also know some really interesting people who can either do talks or workshops. So we just want to mix it up a bit and meet our customers, particularly up north.
Yeah, I was going to ask what made you choose the two different locations?
Well, Red Brick is a no-brainer, really. It's a destination. I mean, it's beautiful. Have you seen it?
No, but I'm going to Leeds soon, so I'm going to check it out.
Are you? Oh, it's an incredibly cool old mill. It's a stunning building, and it's got loads of brands within the building, and it's homeware. So it's a destinational homeware store. It's huge. And it's got beautiful restaurants. It's just really, really well done. They approached us, and we thought, well, we're desperate to get up north. When we launched our second book, we did a bit of a tour and went up north and went to Scotland and did some events. And they just said, oh, thank you for coming up here. And I was born no, I wasn't. I was born down south, but my parents were both born in Huddersfield, which is right near Red Brick. So a lot of my family are in that local area. So it's quite exciting for me because I spent a lot of time in that area. So I'm thrilled that we are going to be able to meet those people as well.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And what's the preparation been like, and how did you develop the look for the store?
Well, they mirror each other really. We like to create zones within the stores, so we tend to have a textile area, a sitting room area, and a kitchen area, and we just try and keep the product fresh. So we like to give our customers loads of newness constantly because it keeps it exciting, doesn't it?
Yeah, it definitely does.
And also we like to bring in things that make people go, oh, wow, that's interesting. I've never seen anything like that before. Um, so the stores are going to be the same. All the newness will go straight into the stores so the customers can go see it firsthand.
And you have the sofas and wallpapers and everything there to choose from?
We haven't got the wallpapers there yet,
Right.
but we are currently working on a new wallpaper range. So when they launch, they will definitely be there. But the sofas are there.
Great. Oh, cool. I can't wait to visit. You're developing lots more of your own brand items too, aren't you? Is there ever like a dull moment? It seems you're just always moving forwards.
I don't like dull moments. I think that right now is quite tough, isn't it? And
Yes.
you can either sit back and just brace yourself, or you can just drive forward and as long as you're making wise business decisions, I think you've just got to keep going and not let all the news drag you down.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I just think it really can drag you down, and there's so much good out there, isn't there?
Yes, absolutely. And yes, there are differing trends. People are more reluctant to buy the larger price items, and we are we're being very careful on our price points. There's lots of things behind the scenes, that business decisions that we're making that are sensible considering the environment at the moment. But you still got to show a shining, happy face, and give people something to smile about.
Absolutely, we all need that. And you just mentioned about sort of sustainability and that area. You put quite a lot of focus on that, don't you? Is there a lot to think about?
Within our warehouse, we are really good now. We recycle all our packaging. We even manage now to recycle the polystyrene, because I hate polystyrene, but it now can be made into something else. So I'm thrilled about that, because a lot of products arrive in polystyrene. All our internal packaging is paper, made of recycled paper. So we are very mindful of that. As far as product is concerned, it's incredibly hard, but we try, we do, and we don't wield as much power as some of the brands do. So we can't force our suppliers to do things, but where possible, we make choices with sustainability and the environment in mind.
Yeah, I can see that's really clear. I've sort of having a good look at your website and reading about you. It's good that you're doing that. It's great. And what would you say is the key to not only having a successful company for 15 years, but it's going from strength to strength, obviously opening stores as well and developing more of your own pieces. How have you created the longevity, do you think? What's the key?
Not overstretching ourselves. We haven't grown at a great speed. We've been solid. We are owner run. We haven't got investment, so we're not answerable to anybody. And we make wise decisions. And we're quite nimble. We're quick decision makers. So when things change in the marketplace, we can change very quickly. And we've got actually, it's our team. We've got the most incredible team. I should have put them at the top. We've got a wonderful, wonderful workforce of really talented people who are really passionate about what they do. And we all love working together and are proud of what we do. And I think that the culture within the company is really positive.
I think to have a good team, you've got to have good bosses. So I think that probably speaks volumes there.
Well, you're very kind. But Lucy and I always say we employ people who are better at their job than we can be. So I think that's the wisest thing. Someone told me to do that. They said employ people who are better at their job than you are, and that everybody who works here in their roles, they're all better at it than we can do. There's a few things I can do. I could pack boxes very efficiently.
Oh no, I think you're both incredible actually. But I need to talk to you about your lovely book. So the first book was Extraordinary Interiors. What inspired you and Lucy to write that first?
Well, actually, I did an event in the Hoxton Hotel, and the book is based on my talk that I did. It's the first one I ever did, and I was absolutely terrified, and I'd worked really hard on it, and it was packed in this room, and I remember just my knees shaking, and it was really well received. And little known to me, Cindy, from Ryland Peter Small, was in the audience, and she approached me at the end and said, "That could be a book." And I said, "Okay." So it was just an opportunity that arose from that. So, and it was very much, I mean, the ethos of Rockett St George is to enable people to make their home within their identity. I think people find it really hard to know what to choose for them for their homes, and I give lots of guidance in the book. For example, go and look at your wardrobe. If you wouldn't feel comfortable wearing an outfit that wasn't in your wardrobe, if you put something on and you're being a bit daring and you just spend the whole day feeling really awkward. It's the same with your homeware. Don't try and be something you're not. And there's lots of tips, like I'd say write lists about different things, and then you kind of create what your homeware design is, especially for you. We're all unique. Some people feel really at home in minimalist monochrome home and they love it and it makes them feel peaceful. Other people would absolutely hate that and feel really awkward and uncomfortable and want to be maximalist with cushions and soft, and stuff everywhere. And somebody else would feel really uncomfortable in that environment. So it's about finding out who you are and translating that into your home, and then realizing that it's a never-ending process. Your home sort of is like a piece of art that you add to and you take away, and it grows throughout your life, but it should represent you.
And it's okay, isn't it, to, do whatever you want in your home. It's if people, I think people do get,
Oh yeah,
because I do interior design, I get people kind of sometimes they're a bit nervous of me going to their house, but I just love that everyone's unique. It's great.
I do too. I do too. We don't all want to have the same home looking exactly. It'd be very boring. We're all different, and we should celebrate that.
So, did you take any of the photography for that book?
No, I didn't. The first one was Debbie Treller, who is an incredible photographer.
So then came Extraordinary Interiors in Colour, which is my favourite topic ever. And so I'd love to, if it's okay with you, talk about, because you've got some beautiful paint colours, haven't you? So I'd love to just sort of work through the colour wheel a little bit and talk about your different paints. So if we start with greens, it'd be really interesting to know
Yes.
which rooms you'd sort of recommend that people use them in, or types of rooms. So let's just start with the greens, if that's okay. First of all, we've got Juniper Leaf, which is a dark and cosy one, isn't it? Where would you recommend that for?
Juniper Leaf is quite the serious green in the collection. So it's one of the dark, mysterious colours that we love at Rockett St George. So you could use that in a sitting room or a dining room, or you could use it on your kitchen doors and frames, or a piece of furniture, because it's pretty versatile, really. Green is such a wonderful, wonderful earthy colour that a natural. It's very calming. It's very peaceful. It's quite grown up, I would say, this colour, and it will make all your accessories look great.
Yeah, and then there's Dalloway, which is a brighter green, isn't it?
Yes, this is punchy and it's fun and it's fresh green. It's like new growth and new beginnings. So that again, furniture. I'm at the moment really into painting pieces of furniture bright green. I just think they look really, really beautiful, and it's nice to have color in your home. Sometimes bright color can be a little bit scary to put on your walls. So why not do a piece of furniture, and then you can introduce that freshness.
And then you've got the blues. Azurite, that's a lovely and bright blue, isn't it?
Yes, it's super bright. That blue, I'm a bit of a blue phobe. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know why. If you look at our web, there's very little blue, and I don't know why.
Ah,
Um,
interesting.
but I do know that it's a great colour, and it's probably the most popular paint colour, apart from white, I think, on our walls. So I'm not sure why I find it so difficult, but it is another one. It's the blue sky, the blue sea. It's a nature color, and therefore it creates a lot of calmness. It is a dangerous one, though. You've got to be really careful. If you've got too much of a cool blue, if you put that in a north face, I don't know why I'm telling you. You know all of this.
No, please do, because people are listening. Please tell me. Talk away.
But yes, be careful in north-facing rooms, or if you're going to use cool colours, make sure it's a south-facing room. You've really got to consider your light and when you use a room. Um, there's lots of this in the book on making those colour decisions, because a north-facing room, I would suggest using a warm toned colour. You can use blue, but it has to be ones with undertones of warmth and yellow mixed into it.
And then there's Portobello, which is more of an inky blue. Again, a beautiful backdrop, isn't it?
Yeah, inky. If I had to do blue, inky blue is what I would do. Again, the golds look beautiful, like you said. It's one of those dark paints. I have to say, a lot of our paints are dark because we are, we are known for those dark walls with those punches, where your things will just stand out. I don't know why. You might be able to tell me why, Lucy, but there's something about putting an ornament in front of a dark wall that makes it just. It's the background that shadows.
I love going to exhibitions where the walls are all dark with the paintings because they just, like you say, they just pop, don't they? They just, you can see every single colour.
I have never been to an exhibition with dark walls. Where have you been?
Oh gosh, I've been to some locally around here in good old Suffolk. I went to one in London a few years ago. I'm trying to think where it was, but it was a really great experience, and I thought I wish they did this more.
Because colour looks completely different, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
It just works so much better. You see things. I think it just takes the walls away a bit and enhances whatever you have in the space.
And with your reds, there's Pimpernel, which is very sort of radiant and it's really friendly and inviting. So, which rooms would you recommend for that?
Oh, only the dining room. Reds are really tricky. I can tell you a bad story about red paint. When I was a long time ago, I painted my bedroom red. I thought I was being cool. I think I was in my early 20s, and it was a turbulent time. It seriously was not a good idea. Red is very stimulating. It creates, well, I guess it's the angry color and the love color. It's passionate, but don't put it in a place where you want to relax. It's a place where you want to stimulate conversation and debate. So dining rooms, perfect. And I think the Victorians used to use reds a lot and plum colours for that very purpose.
So, they got the colour theory even then.
Yes, yes,
And Emanuela is really earthy and warm. It's lovely. It's kind of like a terracotta kind of colour, isn't it?
yes. There's a lot of terracotta around. Although the terracotta always reminds me of the 80s, but I love it when it comes back and you go, oh my god, the 80s! I can't believe we're bringing terracotta back, and then people start using it in such beautiful ways, and you go, I love terracotta.
I do. It's lovely. It's quite sort of Mediterranean as well, isn't it?
Which I always think is really hard to do in England. Personally, I think you need sunshine for that Mediterranean look. But I'm seeing lots of Mediterranean things, like especially in ceramics. I'm seeing lots of lemon bowls, and we've got lots of really exciting sort of fruit-based ceramics, and bright colours coming in. And I think it's, again, we need to cheer ourselves up. And I think there's a lot of colour in accessories coming next season, and I think it's going to be lovely.
Ooh, exciting. Can't wait. Can't wait.
Yeah, it is really
And
exciting.
then you've got pink, on the pink spectrum, it's Bohemia, which is, it has a real sort of timeless feel to it. It's very light, isn't it?
Yes, the Bohemia is really, really pretty. Both the pinks are quite clay colour based, so they're not bubblegummy or girly pinks. They're quite sophisticated pinks. Again, they're lovely to be in because they make you look good. When you're in a pink room, I think it reflects on your skin, and I don't know, everyone looks really healthy and well and happy. I think it's
I need some.
paint your walls pink. I know it's just red with white in it, but it completely transforms the color into something youthful and fun and pretty. It loses all its red angst and becomes something completely different, which is really gentle and lovely.
Yeah. And then there's the brown, briarwood, which is a lovely deep chocolatey colour and really sort of decadent feel to it.
I love chocolate brown walls. I think I think they're beautiful. Um, you don't see them very often. It's quite a Victorian thing, but I just think they're just so, like you say, chocolatey. It's that rich opulence of luxury, and even if they're in a pared back modern environment with, neutral tones furniture with the brown walls, or whether it's in a traditional with gold and heavy velvets, it just is gorgeous.
Yeah, lovely with brass as well. I think I saw a picture that you'd had some brass against it, and I thought, oh, that's just perfect. It's lovely. And then French ochre and cloister, so two different types of yellows. Their French ochre is more intense, isn't it? And cloisters are more subtle yellow.
Cloisters is lovely. It's. I had my spare room in my our old house painted in that colour,
Oh.
and it's like morning sunshine.
Mm.
Yellow is a lovely colour, and it is the happy colour. It literally makes you feel good. But not everybody wants bright yellow walls, and cloisters is a great way to get that feeling from a colour without whilst it being quite sophisticated and accessible.
So which rooms would you sort of suggest? I think nice personally, I think lovely for like an inviting for a hallway for a start.
Yes, absolutely. I would say pretty much any room. It's lovely in a bedroom, lovely in a sitting room. Yeah, I don't think there's any room that wouldn't look great. And a north-facing room, it would work really well. So it's one of those colours that would always feel sunny.
Yeah. And then obviously you've got your lovely greys as well, so three different lovely greys, all different, aren't they?
Yes, grey doesn't seem to be going away, and just like most people, I've had grey walls in my time. I am leaning more towards colour these days, but it is a safe bet, and it's quite serious grey. Grey will take your room into kind of it will. It's like an upgrade. It's like
Yeah.
takes you to a posher level. You can have white walls if you paint them grey. You're now in a yeah. It's like it's an upgrade to your room.
I see, I like that word upgrade. That's a really good way of describing it. But then let's talk about colour black but not about your paints, your website, because it's quite monochrome. Obviously, there's so much colour within your products, but what made you choose black? Because it's I guess at the time maybe a brave move, but it works so well.
We wanted to be instantly identifiable, and at that point, there weren't any interior shops that had a black background. And I was jokingly said to Lucy, "Well, if it's good enough for Chanel, it's surely good to be good enough for us." Plus, again, we realised that our products look better with the black background. That what black does to the photographs makes them pop out the page.
Yeah, it's a strong statement, isn't it? But it was a good statement.
We still debate it now because there is a lots of, or there's also all website chat about how difficult it is to read the text on a black background and things like that. And you'll notice that behind the text, it's slightly lighter to enable people to read it more easily. So there's lots of people. If we ever get a consultant in, they say, "Well, why have you got black background?" Blah 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 blah, and try and make us change. It's our brand identity. I don't think we'll be changing now.
No, good. Please don't. I love it. So, in your own homes, you mentioned a little bit about some of the past colours that you've had. What kind of palette do you have at the moment?
In my kitchen, I've got full tiled walls for half of it, which are the Moroccan Zelig tiles. They're all white, and they sort of sit at different angles. It's not perfect in any way, and the result is that light shines in different angles. So it's beautiful. It's absolutely stunning. And then I've got where my table is. I've got a white tulip table. I've got black walls there.
What a lovely combination. Oh, and what about Lucy's house? Is she? Your house is very different in style.
Well, yes and no. Lucy is much more maximalist than me. She loves stuff, and she's a collector, and she keeps all these wonderful things. And she's got. It's like going to a museum or not, and just seeing incredible things. She's got loads and loads of vintage items. She's got massive disco balls everywhere. She's got a horse from a fairground ride whose hooves light up in her kitchen.
Oh, wow.
Oh yeah, it's the most wonderful experience going to her house, because there's all the most amazing things, but in the most unexpected places. And she's not afraid of having very quirky, naughty items everywhere. So it's brilliant. It's her personality is expressed through her home 100%. And she's got a white room which has got where she's picked out the cornicing in gold. She's got her kitchen is black. She's got the same tiles as me but in black, which again reflect the light beautifully. She's got her sitting room is chocolate brown, and she's got huge sofas with yellows and mustard cushions, mixtures of loads of them all over her sofas. So she is really clever with hers, and she just puts more and more and more in, and it's just a feast for the eyes. It's wonderful.
That does sound amazing. I wouldn't expect anything less, to be honest with you. Now, your home, it used to be a pub and it was built in the 1500s, wasn't it?
Yes,
Are there any original features from the era?
it's ancient. It's quite a challenge, my home, because it's so old. It's a pub, so the sitting room, as you can imagine, used to be the bar. So it's a big open plan sitting room, which is quite a modern thing, to have such a large space. So I've got a big modular sofa, but I've got an inglenook fireplace, and it's got lime plaster walls that were there when we arrived. So it's quite a tricky house because you can't. If you were to go traditional, it would be too twee. So I'm quite modern. It's quite, there's a lot of space, and I've chosen quite modern furniture, and my accessories are collected over the years. So I like the juxtaposition of the beams and it's got quite low ceilings and the inglenook, but I've pared it right back and put quite modern furniture in there.
Right. And I'm guessing you don't have a bar in there anymore.
Sadly not. Although in lockdown we did make one day. We decided we'd had enough. We thought we're in a pub, let's make a pub.
That's a very smart move. And the copper bath is absolutely stunning. Where did you find that?
It was when I moved in. The people who owned the house before me, and they renovated it from it being a pub. They did most of the hard work. They did all of the house, but none of the outside. So when we moved in, we had a massive car park, which is quite interesting.
Oh,
I know it's quite really. I've got a lot of stories about that car park. But they were antiques dealers, so they had put the bath in. So I was lucky enough to have that already there.
is it your copper bath that's on the website? There is a
Yes, yes.
oh, thought so. Looks
It
amazing.
is. But when we first moved into the house, my girls said, I don't want to sit in that. They didn't understand it at all. But actually, it's the most incredible experience because the shape of an old bath means that it's not, it's quite narrow. So the water feels quite high. So when you sit in it, it comes right up over your boobs. So you're literally ensconced in this lovely warm water, and the metal keeps it warmer for longer. And the way the back's shaped, it supports your back and head perfectly. It's really, I thought it would be really uncomfortable, but it's the complete opposite. And you can sit there quite happily and read for a long time.
Yeah, it's. I think, as I was just saying earlier, some of the older designs are not as better thought out, but people think that advancing all the time is better, but it's not always, is it?
No, it's the most comfortable bath I've ever had.
And do you ever use your own home for photo shoots for the store?
All the time, all the time. Um, we've got internal photography here, and we have a studio in the warehouse. But be our photographer. She also visits my house really regularly, just because it's nice to photograph things in a real home. Quite often, on a lot of the pictures on the website are shot in my home.
I noticed recently when I was watching a home tour of yours that you've also got some beautiful house plants. Do you have a passion for those too?
I really like plants, but I'm not very good at it.
Well, they look all really healthy.
I know that's shit. I've now discovered that there are certain plants that you don't have to look after that much, and I only buy those.
Well, that's a good start, isn't it? So your family are obviously very important to you too, because you have, some of your children still living at home, and also your beautiful dog. So what's a perfect family day for you when if you can switch off from work?
Well, in lockdown, we had all of us. We had 7 of us living in our house because my daughter and her boyfriend were there, and my son and his girlfriend were there. And my kids are much older. They're in their early 20s, and I've got a 17-year-old as well. So we were all there together, and we had a really good time. I mean, I know a lot of people had a very awful time, but we were lucky enough to have enough people to make it feel less isolating. And we did some really fun stuff. We had our own parties. We had murder mystery evenings. We bought a outside wood oven and learned how to do a full roast in it.
Mm.
Because my husband and my daughter's boyfriend weren't working during lockdown, they got a digger and started doing all kinds of crazy stuff in the garden. So it was I really enjoyed that time, even though I was working flat out constantly. There was a lot of, it was nice to be together like that. I don't think you will ever get that opportunity again.
No, there were definitely some pluses, weren't there? And it was just a good time to sort of get inventive, like you say, and start digging in the garden and
Yes.
doing all sorts.
The amount of machines that got delivered during that period of time, I was like, what are you doing now?
If you were to plan a perfect weekend away from home, where would you go for interior loveliness? Are there any sort of restaurants or hotels that you would really choose to?
I have to say, Soho House are brilliant at what they do. And they do it well. Are very clever at going to different cities and reflecting that city through their interiors. I think that they do a very, very good job, and I always spend a lot of time. If I ever go and I'm with someone, they always have to sort of give me 15 minutes of just looking around me before we start a conversation. Because I just love looking at everything. Their art is incredible. I don't know where they get all their art from, but they're really talented at what they do. I'm trying to think of the last place: Marrakesh, Bali. The Balinese are incredibly creative people. I think that results from I lived there in my early 20s for a little while, and Bali was where all the creatives hid during the war. And that's why every single Balinese person can draw beautifully. They're just so incredibly talented, and their restaurants and hotels are incredible. If they're Balinese owned, you can tell because they've got this added creativity, and they're Hindus as well, so they create their offerings every day. Um, they leave offerings at all their doors and windows, little trays made out of banana leaves and little bits of flowers and all sorts of things go into their offerings. It's just a really, really lovely environment to be in, Bali. Although there are parts of it's being strangled by tourism, so it's a tricky one. I went back a couple of years ago for the first time in a very long time, and it shocked me what's happening. But there is still, it's all condensed into one area, as is quite often the case with tourism. And if you travel out from that, the real Bali is still there.
Yeah, I would love to go sometime. I wanted to just ask you too, actually, about your charity work with the Princess Trust earlier this year and your hashtag, Change a Girl's Life. So you obviously had, is it 5 or 6 winners, and they're all very different, weren't they? But all so talented, and you can buy that artwork on your site, can't you?
Yes, you can. That was so fun. And oh my goodness, I met some incredible young women who blew me away. They were so driven and so talented. We held a competition and asked young women to enter an art piece for in aid of Princess Trust, and we judged them and chose 6 winners, and we produce the art prints and we sell them on our site, and the profit goes to the artist. Obviously gets a payment, and the profit goes to the Prince's Trust. But the whole process was so enjoyable, and meeting the winners was so inspiring. These young women who are so grown up, really, some and mature and talented. It was really enjoyable experience.
Yeah, I'd really recommend people go and have a look at the art on your website because, like I say, it's because they're obviously all different artists. It is so different, but what a talented bunch!
Yes, they were really impressive.
So, as we mentioned at the beginning, Christmas is on its way. So, are you just going to be really busy now up until then?
Hopefully.
And what have you got planned for next year? Anything in the pipeline?
Um, Lots of events. We want to get out, and having, had such a long period of time where we couldn't meet our customers, we want to get back out again and meet them. We've got really exciting products coming. I'm Now we're all back in the office again. The one thing with lockdown is creativity suffered. You can communicate through Teams, but it's very hard to have creative conversations where you sort of bounce ideas around because you can't talk over each other. You have to sort of stop. And so now we're back in the office. We're having really good fun with our product development and buying team. And I'm really can't wait to share all the new products that are coming with everybody because there's some really new, exciting things.
Excellent. As I say, I'm be in Leeds in a couple of weeks, so I'm definitely going to Red Brick to your store. Can't wait. Thank you so much for a really nice, insightful chat, and I just wish you all the success with your stores. Not that you'll need it, and I look forward to seeing what happens next year.
Thank you so much. And thank you so much for inviting me to be on your podcast. I very much appreciate it.
To have a look at Jane and Lucy's Rockett St George website, head to www.rocketstgeorge.co.uk, and you can follow them on Instagram at rocketstgeorge.co.uk or Jane's own account at Rockett St George. My website, if you'd like to see what I've been up to lately, is Lucy Gleeson Interiors, www.lucylovesyou.com, and my Instagram is at Lucy Gleeson Interiors. Do subscribe for more podcast chats. Thanks for listening and have a good one.